Still Poddable. Playoff edition.
Other teams might as well buy their tickets to Cancun now because the Celtics are on the path to ban on 19.
Playoff edition.
With us on this journey are JT, Sam Packard, Brian, Rob, and Sean.
Playoff edition.
So I'm going to need you all to buckle in because this pod's going to be a wild ride.
Still Poddable. Still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable. Still Poddable.
I've never seen anyone lose their season 2 years in a row.
A psychosexual celebration of the Boston Celtics. Welcome back to Still Poddable, the best Celtics podcast here on Al Gore's internet. I am Sam Jam Packard, joined by producer extraordinaire Sean Gauthier. And this is the Poddable postgame show. We are coming to you live right after game 2, where the Celtics take down the Orlando Magic 109-100. No Jayson Tatum, no problem. Absolute rock fight. Absolute gross, disgusting basketball game. Free throws galore. It was a series of runs. They say basketball is a game of runs. We experienced that tonight, just back and forth. But I thought down the stretch, Derek White, of course, came up huge, made some threes. Payne Pritchard obviously had a big and one, but I thought the real story of the game was Jaylen Brown was just phenomenal, efficient, got the job done, especially down the stretch going up against the Magic bigs. He finished the game with 36 points, 12 of 19, and I thought he just did exactly what he needed to do in a game they didn't have Jayson Tatum.
Double for Jaylen Brown. I mean, yeah, this was a great Jaylen Brown game. I feel like we're due for a great Jaylen Brown game, and like Jayson Tatum being out was the perfect the perfect timing for the Jaylen Brown game. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Packard. This was a great game. There was no point in this game at all where I thought the Orlando Magic were going to win.
No, but there was times where I was a little bit scared that the Celtics might lose, if that makes any sense. I didn't think the Magic were going to do anything to necessarily like put them over the edge because they really cannot make shots. Unless it's Wendell Carter in the corner and it's just wide open, then there's just no one on this team other than Paolo. And he's going to do what Paolo does. There was a stretch at the start of, I think maybe the fourth quarter, where the Celtics just had garbage possession after garbage possession and like really slowed things down. And I didn't like that stretch. And I thought, well, if they continue to shoot themselves in the foot for the entire quarter, there might be an issue. But I thought the Celtics just did a very good job tonight of responding multiple times. They just went on. They went on a run, and I thought the Magic. You give the Magic credit; they responded, but I thought the Celtics did a good job of responding to every single Magic run and going a run on of their own. And just that's what a playoff caliber team does. A super deep team. I thought it was mighty impressive.
Yeah, it doesn't help when the Magic let Porzingis he takes as many free throws as the other team made. Like that's not. I mean, I don't know how else you try and stop Kristaps when he's looking the way he is, even with missing unicorn horn. But like, yeah, I mean, I feel like game 1 super physical. They were like trying to, that's like everyone says like the playbook against the Celtics is like be physical against them. But eventually, like they've got to blow the whistle, and I feel like tonight was eventually they got to blow the whistle night, and this is what we got.
Yeah, I mean, the first half was an absolute slugfest. Celtics shoot 23 free throws, 12 of them going to Kristaps. Like I thought they did. They executed the game plan well. The Magic were switching on lots of stuff, and that just allowed Kristaps to take advantage of his matchups against whoever it was, KCP, Wendell Carter, Anthony Black, Corey Joseph, like all of those guys. And Kristaps did a good job, I think, of just drawing contact against everyone. But yeah, it really seemed like the Magic adjustment from game 1 to game 2 was like, we tried to beat the shit out of them in game 1. What if we try to beat the shit out of them more in game 2? And like, I didn't think it allowed the Celtics necessarily to get it in a rhythm. Certainly in the first half, the Celtics were just straight up bad offensively. I mean, part of that, like, you can't say they were that bad because they got that many free throws, but they were shooting 36% from the field. I think in the first quarter it was 25%. Like, there's really just no one making shots in that first half other than Jaylen Brown, and then other than Kristaps Porzingis at the free throw line. And so I thought the Celtics did what they needed to do in terms of just playing through that contact. You kind of knew that the Magic were going to try and be physical, and I thought the Celtics handled it well and didn't really allow, like, save for a few Wendell Carter threes, they just like allow someone else to beat us. You know who is not going to be? KCP, because that guy can't buy a bucket. That guy was brought in and paid $20+ million just to become a guy who can make threes, and he can't even do that in the playoffs. And I know someone's got something to say about that. It's Joshua B. Legend Joshua B. in the house. How you feeling, Joshua B?
I'm very frustrated because I feel like
we won.
Yeah, we did win. Well, no, I'm much happier that we're one step closer to banner 19. I'm jacked for that, and I love like your commentary on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope not being able to drain a three. I think that is spot on. What I might not be in agreement with you on, and what may be really getting me frustrated, is that I think the story of the game was in the second half. It was referee after referee just giving the Magic a bailout whistle. And I know that there's like this argument of, oh, well, no, they have to eventually blow the whistle. I heard that part. That's not what was going on. What was going on was every single play, the Magic would brick a shot like they're prone to do, or there would be a steal, or there would be a tip ball, loose ball, and then all of a sudden the whistle would come in to bail it out and make the TNT broadcast a lot more entertaining, particularly in the second half. In other words, the whole thing, there were a number of times where the Celtics should have just ran away with this game. And instead it was like, no, let's see if we can find a new way to end the Magic possession. Maybe
Josh, we won the basketball game. We won a playoff game without Jayson Tatum.
We did win the basketball game.
Let's talk about Derek White knocking down clutch threes. Like, it was 11-9 in fouls in the second half. I thought it was a very physical game, and there's some calls that I didn't like, but that's just because they went against my team. Like, I think the Magic fans could be pretty upset. It's wild, Josh, for you to come in and argue about the referees when we shot 23 free throws in the first half. 23. That's more than we averaged per game the entire year.
I don't like that you're taking me out of context. I'm not arguing about the refereeing in the first half. I'm arguing with the refereeing in the second half.
The whole game is the context.
Josh, this is why you've got to watch the NBC Sports Boston broadcast. Sounds like I had a much better time, and I'm with you. I get, when I watch a national broadcast, I come on here and I'm mad no matter what. You gotta, while we've got them, first round, you gotta watch that hometown broadcast. You'll feel better.
Well, for expats like Josh B and I, we have no other option. We have to watch the national broadcast.
Oh.
It's the hardest part. It's the hardest part about, my life. When you look at all the different things that are difficult about my life, that's the most difficult thing. I do have some real questions and some real analysis. And we'll begin with Derek White, who went 3 for 10 and got to 5 fouls on what seemed to be just, again, nonsense second half fouls. Though the one over the back was legitimate, but fouls 4 and 3 just seemed to be, I mean, I don't even know. I guess the right word for it is nonsensical or non-existent. But
poppycock?
Yeah, poppycock is a good word for it. What did you think specifically of his performance? It was +4 single game plus minus, our favorite stat here on Still Poddable. +4, hit both his free throws, but also went 3 for 10 from 3. Do you think that we should expect up and down performances from Derek White, or do you think that we're going to get a little bit more consistency? And I have one other one when you're done asking about Derek White.
I mean, up until the fourth quarter, I got to be honest, I was pretty disappointed with Derek White's performance, especially in a game that Jayson Tatum wasn't playing. I expected him to come out and kind of take more of their scoring responsibility. That being said, his 8 points in the fourth quarter, especially those back-to-back threes, which we are so used to seeing him from Derek White, it's just kind of what makes him Derek White. He also had that nice play where he just kind of did the Steve Nash thing where he dribbled around and then kind of got that bucket again. He definitely stepped up his performance in the second half. 8 of his, I think, total 17 points in that fourth quarter. So I do think I expected kind of more offensive production from him, but I can't be that angry with him just because when they needed that, and I really think they needed those buckets down there in the fourth quarter, he stepped up with very clutch threes. The Magic were around like 6 points at that point, and Derek White was right there to get it back up to 12, get it back up to double digits. And so I can't be too mad at him because he did exactly what they needed to do in that moment in the fourth.
I also feel like those back-to-back threes in the fourth, like I feel like for me, sometimes it's less even about whether Derek's hitting the threes, although obviously I prefer when he hits his threes. But like I was feeling like it's so good to see confident threes from him. Like
those threes were off the dribble and like immediate switch. I have some space. I'm taking the threes. It felt like all the other threes he took were kind of like ones where he got weird passes in the corner and they weren't necessarily his shot. So I think that's a great point, Sean. It's like him looking to create his own shot in that moment. I think what they needed, especially in a moments in the fourth quarter where the offense kind of got bogged down. You need someone like Derek White there to create your own shot, especially if it's not going to be Jaylen every single possession.
Yeah, and like if you look back at the playoff runs that didn't go the way we wanted them to recently with Derek White, like it was him not being confident in his shot, not being confident in his offense. And like if he's taking the last second corner three, like I'm not mad. He's probably gonna knock those down and going forward. Like he's gonna hit a lot of those. But like when he's hunting for a shot and he can get it and gets it off and makes it confidently, like that's what I'm looking for from Derek White. So I was like, obviously I would have preferred him having more points tonight, but I was like totally fine with this DY performance.
I guess I have two more questions now that I'm looking at the team stats. I noticed that the Orlando Magic outscored the Boston Celtics 46-38 in the paint. It felt for the longest time like the Orlando Magic couldn't get any points that weren't 2 feet in front of the basket. Do you think that Jamal Mosley is going to look at this tape when he's busy looking for adjustments to make in Orlando's favor and just tell his entire team to concentrate on only taking shots that are 2 feet in front of the buckets? Or do you think that we're going to continue to see the Orlando Magic attempt to shoot the basketball from outside?
You know, I've been much lampooned on this very program for saying there's no adjustments after game one. I don't really know what the adjustments Orlando Magic made on the offensive end tonight. Maybe it's playing more Goga Bitadze Day. I don't know how to say that name. Just going to move past that. Probably shouldn't have drawn attention to it. But the thing about Jamal Mosley and the Magic, they haven't made adjustments to their offense in like 3 seasons. Like this, struggling to shoot and struggling to create good looks was the exact same thing that gave them issues in a series they probably should have beat the Cavs last year, and it went to 7. And so they had this entire year. I know Jalen Suggs got hurt, but their offense is like 29th in the league for the entire season. So I don't know what adjustments they necessarily have to make. I thought they found maybe something. If the Celtics seem perfectly okay letting Wendell Carter shoot threes in the corner, I thought they generated like KCP had some wide open threes that they missed, but like their offense is get the ball to Paolo, let Paolo do something, and hopefully he can do something. And if the Celtics double, you pass and hope something good happens. I think Franz is so dangerous in transition. Like I thought he's a very talented player in transition. I still think even in the half court, he does a pretty good job of attacking Kristaps Porzingis. But if it's just half court offense, the whole strategy is just give the ball to Paolo and try to figure it out. And again, I don't know what the adjustments are going to be. I'm going to say it. I don't know what the adjustments are for the Orlando Magic.
And also, like Josh, to your point, like this is a team that like has sucked at shooting threes all season. Like it's not. I don't really think that they can be like, you know what, guys, now we're going to shoot threes. Like they're going to have to hope that they can just hit enough twos, and like you can't against this Celtics team. Like you just can't. You got to hit threes to beat this team. And like, yeah, I was starting to be like those Wendell Carter Jr. threes in the corner. I was like, all right, I'm sick of seeing these. Like maybe we put somebody on them. But at the same time, I'm like,
I'm fine anytime Wendell Carter shoots a shot. Like even if it's a 3, I think that's a win for the Celtics offense or Celtics defense.
And like
So go ahead.
KCP, let him shoot threes. I'm happy to see KCP threes. If he's going to keep missing them like he has been, I'm like, I'll take him.
So I got one last question, because I found myself, unfortunately and worryingly disagreeing with Jam Packard about his general no adjustments for the Orlando Magic. I thought they did make an adjustment on defense. Primarily, they started diving at the feet of the Boston Celtics players and tripping them pretty much down the court. It wasn't just Al Horford, although it happened to Al Horford in the second quarter with KCP, and then it happened again at the end of the game for Al Horford. It happened to Sam Hauser multiple times. It happened to Kristaps Porzingis. I'm just thinking of times like in my head. It did seem a little bit like, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because it happened a lot more than I remember seeing it happen really all year long, looking at the Celtics, seeing them starting to run up the court, up the floor, seeing them starting to run up. And then all of a sudden a player for the Celtics, when it looks like they're taking a lead, is all of a sudden rolling around on the ground. Do you think that's the kind of thing that we might see the league crack down on in like a video session, or do you think that it's just going to continue to be that kind of brand of, do you think that counts as like physical basketball, or do you think that's just a new style of defense that the Orlando Magic are allowed to play and nobody else in the entire NBA is allowed to get away with?
Joshua B, I want whatever you're taking right now, because I only remember one instance of a player diving at the feet, and that was like kind of when the KCP Al Horford brouhaha happened. But other than that, I thought this was just playoff basketball. I will say this playoffs, like the past since last Saturday, has been physical as hell, and just like not calling things. I am kind of surprised when fouls are called. Like there were some, like a lot of things that just they let it go, and then some, like it's the kind of lack of consistency. But I don't think the Magic are necessarily intentionally diving at the feet of the Boston Celtics, but I could be wrong. So I want you to stay vigilant, Josh B, and point it out to me. Point it out to me for game 3.
Watch the last minute of the game on playback, and you'll see it multiple times. Thanks, guys, again for having me, and I can't wait to get to Orlando and maybe see some more consistent officiating.
Appreciate it, Josh B. That's Joshua B, a legend of Still Poddable. If you want to be like Joshua B and become a legend, subscribe today. Patreon.com/Still Poddable. If you're a legend, you can come on us, join the podcast, but you can also just join us for every single podcast, Monday through Friday. We're having great guests all season. You hear from Jay King from The Athletic. You'll hear from Brian B. Rob of this psychosexual celebration of the Boston Celtics. Tomorrow, we got the Ringers' Michael Pina coming on to talk about the series, and we're hoping to have great national guests for the entire ride. So go to patreon.com/Still Poddable and subscribe today. I want to talk about Kristaps Porzingis. We talked a little bit about his free throw, like just drawing free throws, and I thought that was solid, but I just thought his effort to start the game defensively, he had a nice block. He was getting on the offensive glass. He was active on defense. He was like getting down the court, getting early seals. I just thought after what I thought was a very lackluster game 1 performance, especially in a game without Jayson Tatum, he came out and played so much better. More so in the first half, definitely had a much bigger impact in the first half. He had his 15 points there and only finished the game with, I think, 20. So like a smaller impact in the second half. Also bled profusely from his face, which I think was a pretty radical move. I don't think it was intentional, but I just thought, like, compared to his game 1 performance, I thought that was kind of exactly what they needed from him. Active on the defensive end, active on the offensive glass, and just like getting that post position, getting to the free throw that many times. Like he earned with meat tonight, folks. He earned with meat, bloody meat.
He earned with bloody meat. There's also that moment really late in the game. For some reason, the Celtics, like, I mean, I know why the Celtics were doing this. They were throwing the ball into the half court just to make it so, avoiding fouls, making it tougher for Magic to come back. But there was like 3 in a row terrible overhand passes. But there was that one where KP just like dives at the scorer's table and knocks the ball off of somebody's foot on the Magic, and I was like, hell yeah, that's insane behavior.
That's a hustle
That's
play.
earning with meat.
Earning with meat, a heads up hustle play with like a minute left after I think Peyton Pritchard threw the ball away. It was just supreme effort, and I thought, is anyone happier to walk off the court bloodied face than Kristaps Porzingis. Like, let's just like talk through that moment. He goes down, oh, it's a foul, and then immediate blood just like gushing from his forehead. It was a scary moment. They slap on. He immediately goes to the locker room with a towel over his face with blood, smiling his ass off, just fucking loving the moment. But he needs to shoot those free throws from the flagrant foul, because if he doesn't shoot those free throws, he can't return to the game. So they slap on what has to be the biggest bandage I've ever seen on his face, like covering up the majority of his face. And I thought the coolest part was the 2 streaks of blood in his hair. I don't know how familiar you are with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but my brother said it looked like is it Bebop who had hair like that? And he said the bandage looked like Rocksteady. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. But I've never seen blood streaked in the hair like that. That was pretty fucking cool.
I love that they gave him the stitches or whatever, and then they just don't clean his hair. So the guy just has
It was
like,
a little clean. It was a little
the
cleaner
back
once he
of his
came back.
head. It looked like the back of his head had a separate wound because they could not get the blood out of the back of his head.
Do you expect him to do a full barbershop like shampoo back there? I mean, they got the game to focus on.
I'm sure a wipe could have done. I mean, yes, the stitches most important, and yeah, the clock, it's still running. He's got to get back out there. But all I'm saying is, like 2 more baby wipes in the back of the head. I think they could have cleaned up my guy a little bit more.
Yeah, but I think we all prefer a little bit bloody Kristaps. Not entirely. I don't want blood flowing from his face, but having recently bloodied Kristaps, I think might be the best version. We also got a moment earlier when he like kind of stumbled into the stands, and nothing makes Kristaps happier than being amongst the people, which I always think is fantastic.
That was an awesome moment. Just like gets absolutely pummeled, shoved into the stands, and then just like high fives some kid and goes nuts. That's vintage Kristaps.
It's one of his favorite things to do. I also want to talk tonight about Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard gave 32 minutes off the bench. It was a kind of a wild rotation evening, just because it's like, what do we do without Jayson Tatum? We don't really trust anyone. We're going to stick with this 8-man rotation. Frankly, Luke Cornett and Sam Hauser were not good tonight. And so we're basically playing 6 guys. But I thought Peyton Pritchard came in and didn't score as many points as he did in game 1, but there was just a specific moment in the third quarter where Celtics start off the third quarter. They go on that 11-0 run, timeout Magic. Everyone's going banana land. Then the Magic come back. Franz is doing some stuff, making good shots. And so they bring back Peyton Pritchard, I think, with 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. And he just played the most intense ball pressure defense for like a solid 4 to 5 minute stretch of just like, I'm picking everyone up at least at half court, no matter who it is. If it's Paolo, the amount of effort he put on just defending Paolo on the perimeter night was amazing. But I thought he totally started this run where it was Peyton Pritchard intense defense, led to a Drew layup, led to a Derek White layup, led to a then Jaylen Brown layup. Then they kind of combined finally the Jaylen Brown steal and dunk. But I really thought the tone was kind of set there in that run in that third quarter, where the lead went extended from 5 to I think 12 at that, or 12 or 14 at that point. They went on this big run, forced the Magic to take another timeout, and I just thought Peyton Pritchard came in doing what he's basically done all year, is coming in and bringing energy. But I think Joe Mazzulla said this in between games or after he won the 6th Man of the Year. I was impressed with his defensive effort and his just defensive intensity, and just being like, no matter what you do on this side of the court, Magic, it's not going to be easy. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the hustle too, like down the stretch, there's that fourth quarter possession where like Pritchard comes in for Derek White, who's out because of the 5 fouls. And it was like there was some junky possessions. I think one of them ended up with the Jaylen Brown corner 3. But then there was another one where it was like Holiday drives in, gives Pritchard the ball in like the dunker spot, and now Pritchard's kind of trapped, and he gets this ridiculous and one.
Yeah, I thought he was doomed. I thought he was doomed.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to pivot out of that, and then he did.
I couldn't see him on the broadcast. I couldn't see him anymore. He disappears, ball in his hand apparently, and then just pops out the other side with a reverse layup. And it's just like, those are also those moments where you're just like, man, Peyton Pritchard just works. Like the dude is just working. He's hustling, and it was just like another moment on the stretch where like, you know, the game, I said this at the top. I didn't think that the Magic were going to win this game at any point during this game, but like there's one of those moments where I was like, great, now it's going to be a stressful, however many minutes, 2 minutes left, and instead he gets the and one, and it's like, oh yeah, like this is why the Celtics are so good.
Yeah, it's like you're only as good as your weakest link, and he's not a weak link whatsoever. I thought he's just brought the intensity. Something interesting when he won Sixth Man of the Year, Mike Zarin, assistant GM of the Celtics, said, I think he tweeted out that in his time with the Celtics, and he's been there at least 20 years, no one has worked harder than Peyton Pritchard, which is an insane thing to say, just thinking about like all the players who have like, he was there in the big three, like full KG era. Like you hear stories just like the amount Ray Allen put into his game, Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, just like a bunch of guys who like really worked hard. And to say Peyton Pritchard is the hardest working one out of all of them, I think it's just a testament to just, it's got to be so hard to be only 6 feet tall and be this good in the NBA. Like it's just wild what he continues to do. And I think Jay made a very good point on the last pod we did, that like he's going to have such a bigger role in this playoff run. And I think he's primed to do it just because he is aggressive. He's taking his shots. And he's taking the top off the defense a bit. Like he was 3 of 6 from 3 tonight. Like every time he makes a 3, it just makes the defense be on their heels a little bit more worried about where he has to guard. And so, he smoked 2 bunnies tonight. I can be critical of him. He could have had more points. He could have been better, but he still does a good job of scoring from 3 and getting to the rim and really putting that pressure on the defense.
And also that 3 of 6 from 3 includes, I think, 2 like heaves at the end of the quarter. So like, I mean, yeah, he's basically 3 of 4 without the heaves. 3 of 6 is already good. 3 of 4 without the heaves is insane. So like, yeah, Peyton Pritchard.
He's kind of a heave guy.
Yeah.
Before we get to the junk, just got to mention Drew Holiday. Just a ho-hum, 11 points, 6 assists, 4 boards from him. Sure, he had some moments where you thought, what the fuck is Drew Holiday doing right now? But that's part of the experience. He also had very clutch layups. He also had a dunk. When's the last time you saw Drew Holiday dunk a basketball? It happened in the first half of this game. And so I have multiple moments in my notes of just like Drew in all caps. And of course, it was just splashed throughout the game where it's just like, there's no consistency. It's like, this is Drew's time. It's just like Drew is just, that's what he does. He just makes an impact. He finds a way. He's Drew Holiday. Like he's just a playoff performer.
That's true.
Go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, on the NBC Sports Boston broadcast, they were, they kept saying like, Scal was saying like we needed a big night from Drew, a big night from Derek. And I don't necessarily think we got like a big night from either of those guys, but like there was a lot of, like you said, there's just a lot of like solid moments from Drew. Again, especially down the stretch. I mean, that pass to Pritchard was an insane thing to do, but like it did work out. And like that last second pass to Jalen in the corner was huge.
I thought that was a wasted possession until that.
Yeah. Yeah. Reminiscent of the, that corner 3 from the Pacers game, not as important, but from last season. But yeah, just like plenty of solid options from Drew, and just like the fact that you can just stick him on Paolo. Like, again, he's not going to stop Paolo every time, but like he makes him work. And when Paolo Banchero,
and you don't have to double
scoring
like
for them,
everyone else, you have to double all of Paolo. It's like, no, just leave that one-on-one. It makes the defense like so that much easier.
Yeah, because then that's also like you're not getting Wendell Carter Jr. threes because Kristaps doesn't have to shade over every time, because it's like, just leave Drew on him. He'll ruin his day. He'll be fine.
I agree. Before we get to the junk drawer, I just got to mention Jaylen Brown again. Jaylen Brown, fantastic. 36 points, 12 of 19. Down the stretch, big plays, driving against the bigs, driving against Franz Wagner. That sweet high arcing shot, which I didn't know he had in his bag. That was pretty fucking cool. Just making up big plays in the clutch. And from 3, like Jaylen Brown did not have a good year from 3 this year, but he was 5 of 7 from deep. Downtown Jaylen Brown. At one point, Grant Hill said, Brown operating well from downtown. I was like, so close. So close. But we didn't get it.
Yeah, Drew Carter's really leaning into the grave digger thing or whatever. I'm not that into it. I'm not that
You want to
into
know
it.
why? It's because he came up with that nickname. And if I was in the same position, all the nicknames I came up with would be the ones I'm saying. Like, you just got to take advantage of it and try to collect on that. So I don't blame Drew Carter. I did try to tell him about downtown Jaylen Brown in Philadelphia. He didn't want to hear it. But if any night you're going to say it, 5 of 7 from deep, tonight might have been the night. But apparently didn't do it. All right, let's get to the junk drawer. We got a special thing here to start off the junk drawer. I didn't know if it was going to come back, but it came back. We got the debut of a new song. I haven't heard it before, so let's hear it.
Let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go, baby, let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go. Let's go, Celtics. Magic ain't fooling me. They can't keep it up when we flash past BP. Let's go, Celtics. Speaking of Magic D, you make mine disappear while you was hugging me. While I scream, let's go, Celtics. Let's scream, let's go. Let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go, baby. Let's go. You motherfucking Celtics. Let's go. Let's go, Celtics. Let's go.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The Masked Crusader, the man who creates the Let's Go Motherfucking Celtics song, is back. Dropped it in the inbox today. I saw that text from Jay King. I was so thrilled. I'm so excited for whatever comes up with Game 3. That's good work. That makes me feel happy. That puts me back in the zone, because you know what I associate with that song? Winning playoff basketball games. I associate that with a run to a banner. And that has all the good feelings in the world with that. And so that's not even junk. That's earning with meat.
That's the still potable difference, like Grant says.
That is absolutely the still potable difference. And so I appreciate the Masked Man for doing that song. Let's get to the junk. I thought JT looked pretty nice on the bench. Not like I want him on the bench, but I thought he wore a good outfit, a very small wrist wrap. I thought he looked cool.
Yeah, I agree.
We already talked about KP going into the crowd. Why is Google search trends? You didn't get this on your broadcast, but there was a segment brought to us by Google search trends, and they showed us what the improved Google search trends were since Jayson Tatum went out. And it was Jaylen Brown's stats without Jayson Tatum. And I just, I don't know. I thought it was poppycock. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, I agree. That's poppycock.
Okay, this is a big question between the NBC Sports boss and the TNT. There were so many face guard blockouts tonight. And was Scal talking about it? Because I saw it on the TNT broadcast, face guard blockout, and it happened 3 or 4 times on the Magic, and then a couple times on Derek White. I was like, Scal knows and has taught us all that what a face guard blockout is, and you can't do that. That's a foul every single time.
I was gonna say I only know that term because of Scal, and it came up. It came up big time.
It better have, because I was just like face guard blockout, and yeah, they called it consistency. When KCP maliciously and viciously dove into Al Horford's ankles, as Joshua B. alleged, they did a review for a flagrant, and I just liked that the ref called him KCP when talking about what was happening. It's he tried to say Kentavious Caldwell Pope the first time. It's no, everyone knows him as KCP. Why not just call him KCP? Still Poddable chat, which you guys should join if you're watching here for free. Chat is popping. And so you can download the Patreon app, participate in chat. But anytime TNT showed just a highlight package of the Magic, chat was pissed off. Chat was fucking furious. It's how dare they show Paolo make 6 buckets? The Celtics are winning right now. It's you guys don't understand. This is a national broadcast here. And I don't want to get chat angry at me, but I did love chat's scorn, absolute scorn for any sort of positive comment about the Orlando Magic. That's what it's about.
And that's why I don't like national broadcasts. I don't want to hear about the good things they're doing. I'm seeing it. I'm mad about it in real time. Don't show me it again. I'm with
That's fair.
chat.
That's fair. Brendan Kelly from chat had a great Franz checked out of the game, and he wrote in chat, Magic looking like Austria-Hungary the way they're getting cooked without Franz. And that is just like the exact joke that will get you on the podcast. You make a good Franz Ferdinand reference. That's perfect. Brendan Kelly, a kudos to you. Fun Franz Ferdinand story. So Franz Ferdinand, obviously the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, part of the nobility class. Like everyone knew he was going to be Archduke since he was born, because he's born into this type of thing. Apparently back in those days, you had to have like your future bride or like approved by the rest of the nobles, because they wanted to keep like the good folk in the nobility class. But Franz Ferdinand met some common poor woman, and he was like, I'm marrying her. And then the rest of like the people of the nobility in Austria-Hungary were like, you can marry her, but she can't sit with us. And so like they would have all these like formal events, these state dinners, and she wasn't allowed to sit at the table. And anytime they do processional, she would have to like walk 50 meters behind Franz Ferdinand. And to take the cake, they stripped his children of their inherited title. So like they couldn't, after Franz Ferdinand got popped by the Black Hand, there was no subsequent Ferdinands who were going to take the throne. Like he did all of that for the love of this poor woman. And so shout out to Franz Ferdinand. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, should have he gone into the Balkans? No. Was it a powder keg? Absolutely. Was World War I inevitable? And could there have been another event that was likely start a world war, given all the alliances between Europe and the changing dynamic post-industrial revolution? Absolutely. But shut up. I got distracted. I got to stop telling people to shut up when I'm the only one talking here. That's pretty much all I got. Oh, Iron Eagle down the stretch. Al Horford, Jaylen Brown did a cool driving move and like missed the layup, and Al Horford just got the putback, and he said, clean up on aisle 42. And I was like, that's stupid. And I liked it a lot. He went on to explain that it's a really big store.
I was going to say, imagine the fresh hell that is a grocery store with 42 aisles.
Imagine being the janitor who has to hear the call, clean up on aisle 42, and you've got to walk 42 aisles with your mop. Oh, that's
it's a full mile walk for this guy.
So I did appreciate Iron Eagle for that one. Any junk from you, Sean?
Only junk I really have is hey, check out the new background. Tell me in chat if you like the new background. I made this during the game. So
yeah.
Yeah, let me know what you think. Also, do we not have a what the hell do we call it? The Poddable
Still Poddable,
Poddable still.
Oh, I'm so glad you remembered. Now, initially I thought it was going to be this one, which is Kristap's giant bandage. But you can only slightly see the streaks of blood in his hair. And then I found this doozy, which is Kristaps with a giant bandage, a streak of blood, and just a smiling, almost as if Jayson Tatum was the one who caused him to be so bloody, hanging out in the background. So I think that's going to be the official still Poddable still of the game. For those listening on the audio version, you guys saw it. Kristaps Porzingis was covered and caked in blood. Like you know exactly what I'm talking about. So imagine that, and then a smiling, clapping Jayson Tatum right behind him in the frame, and that's what you get for the still Poddable still. Oh, sorry, I cut off that music too soon. I'm going to hear it again. That's going to do it for us, folks. Celtics win 109-100. Jaylen Brown, 36 points, 12 of 19 from the field, 5 of 17. Derek White, clutch plays down the stretch, huge threes. Kristaps Porzingis, 20 points, 10 of 14 from the free throw line. Drew Holiday did cool shit. Peyton Pritchard, 14 points, also did cool shit. Al Horford knocked down a three. I don't think we talked a lot about Al tonight, but he was there. He rocks. He flinched on a free throw. He did all the classic Al Horford stuff. Celtics are up 2-0. Next game is on Friday night in Orlando. I have no idea if Jayson Tatum's going to play or not. I think he might.
I hope not.
But he doesn't necessarily need to because we clearly see the Celtics are capable of beating the Orlando Magic. But it's really a pain tolerance thing. Like, I don't think him playing is going to make his injury any worse. And so I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked. What am I trying to say here, Sean? If
he's going to play.
I think he's going to play. I think Jayson Tatum is furious that he didn't get to play in a playoff game. Let's end on this. The last time the Celtics had a playoff game that did not feature Jayson Tatum, the starting lineup was Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Al Horford, and Kelly Olynyk, with Jaylen Brown coming off the bench. Like, that is a wild, and I believe that was the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs in the year they got absolutely destroyed, if I remember correctly. And so Jayson Tatum is playoff basketball, and I'm just be shocked if he doesn't play on Friday night. But if it doesn't happen, whatever happens, we'll be here to talk about it. Appreciate everyone tuning in live on the Twitters and the YouTubes. Again, if you want Monday through Friday coverage from us, from Jay King, from B-Rob, from the two of us, go to patreon.com/stillpoddable. Be part of chat. Join today. We got new motherfucking Celtics songs coming. We got good national guests. We're going to hear from Michael Pina from The Ringer tomorrow. And so subscribe today. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll be back Friday after the game with more Poddable Postgame.
Still Poddable, still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable, still Poddable.
Slow down from eating and drinking and all that wild stuff.